Hello, my beautiful friends. Me and Ellie are just going to talk to you today for just a little bit as we go through all of this awesome quarantine stuff. So I came upon this quote today and it totally spoke to me. And I was like, okay, I know what I want to share with all my people. So this quote actually comes from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you've never listened to or read that before, I cannot recommend it enough. So let me read the quote. It says, "Never miss twice. If I miss one day, I try to get back into it as quickly as possible. Missing one workout happens, but I'm not going to miss two in a row. Maybe I'll eat an entire pizza, but I'll follow it up with a healthy meal. I can't be perfect, but I can avoid a second lapse. The first mistake is never the one that ruins you. It's the spiral of repeated mistakes that follows. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. This is a distinguishing feature between winners and losers. Anyone can have a bad performance, a bad workout, or a bad day at work, but when successful people fail, they rebound quickly. The breaking of a habit doesn't matter if the reclaiming of it is fast. I think this principle is so important that I will stick with it even if I can't do it as well or as completely as I would like. Too often, we fall into an all or nothing cycle with our habits. The problem is not slipping up. The problem is thinking that if you can't do something perfectly, then you shouldn't do it at all. You don't realize how valuable it is to just show up on your bad or busy days. Lost days hurt you more than successful days help you. And I'm like, oh, my mic drop to like that whole quote. And especially during all this quarantine stuff, I'm sure you can relate to missing a workout. I'm sure you can relate to eating a whole pizza. I'm sure you can relate to maybe not doing homeschooling like you should have with your kids, or not cleaning your house like you wanted to, or not doing your dishes like you wanted to, or not doing your work things like you needed to, or not getting ready like you felt like doing, or whatever the case may be, right? There's probably been many days where you wanted to, or needed to, or should have done fill in the blank, and you didn't get to it. And that's okay. I love what he says. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. So just literally in all this time, all the things that you're doing at home with your families, set your priorities, make your priorities apparent. And I truly, truly encourage you to write them down. And just because I've seen so many people be like, oh my gosh, I had so many good intentions for 2020. Looks like that's all out the window. And I totally understand that this quarantine thing is hard and that it's throwing everyone for a loop. But that doesn't mean that we have to settle for sucky. Like, I don't know how else to say that. It's only March. Like, April is just around the corner. And just because this month has been a whirlwind of craziness does not mean that the next 9 months of the year are going to suck and have to be a complete waste, right? It is 100% up to you how you choose to go forward from here. And I mean, I just had a baby. And I don't know if that makes my situation even easier or even harder, because I was kind of already planning on being quarantined anyway, so that she didn't get any sicknesses. But truly, like, every single person has it hard right now. Every single person has been dealt hard blows. And the difference between the people who are handling it well and the people who are not are, I mean, there's a lot of factors, definitely, especially with how much it's affected you with job loss and your kids and all those things. But for the most part, I can say those that I've experienced that are handling it well are the people who are looking for the lesson inside of this. The people who are looking for ways they can improve, ways they can grow, and they're doing what this quote says. They're never missing twice. They're doing their best to still stick to some sort of workout program. They're doing their best to still stick to some sort of nutrition program. They're doing their best to still stick to some sort of schedule, some sort of normal. They're trying to create a new normal. within all this craziness, and they're doing their best to make it work and to never miss twice. I'm going to read this part again. This is a distinguishing feature between winners and losers. Anyone can have a bad performance, a bad workout, or a bad day at work. But when successful people fail, they rebound quickly. The breaking of a habit doesn't matter if the reclaiming of it is fast. I'm not sitting here telling you that you have to be smiley, happy-go-lucky through all this quarantine stuff. You are allowed to have hard moments. You are allowed to have hard days. You are allowed to have a hard week. But don't make 1 week bleed into 2 weeks. Don't make 1 day bleed into 2 days. Don't make 1 hour bleed into 2 hours. Do what you can to make the most out of it, to find the lesson inside of it. I actually just finished another book called The Miracle Equation, and it's by the same author as The Miracle Morning. It's by Hal Elrod. And he talks about, he was in a car accident and he was told he would never walk again. And long story short, he was going to have to be in a wheelchair. And when most of the time when people receive a diagnosis like that, they go into a very deep, dark place and they struggle with depression. But he wasn't struggling with depression or anything of the sort. And the doctor actually came to his dad and was like, we've seen this before, people who are like optimistic and still happy through a crazy time like this, and it's because he's in denial. And we would much rather him go through his feelings of depression and hardship here at the hospital where we can monitor him and not do those things when he's on his own, because then he could cause himself harm. He can overdose on pain medication, he can commit suicide, whatever, if he's going through those hard feelings, not here. So will you please talk to him? They're talking to his dad. Like, please talk to him, help him not be in denial anymore. And so the dad did. He went and talked to him, Hal Elrod, the author, and was like, this is the situation. Like, we're afraid you're in denial because you're being so positive and happy through this. And he listened and he took it to heart, and he was asked himself, he truly reflected, am I in denial? And he told a story that was like, oh my gosh, like I was listening to this chapter like the first day or two of the quarantine, and I was like, that is exactly what I needed to hear in this moment. Where he talked about he had just been practicing for the last year and a half because of his work and because of something that someone had shared with him, to give himself, anytime he goes through something hard, he literally sets a timer for 5 minutes, and he gives himself 5 minutes to do whatever he needs to do, to cry, to scream, to pout, to shout, to be angry, to be hurt, to be fierce, to pray, to whatever he needed to do in those 5 minutes to truly experience and feel the emotions of that hardship. And then out loud to say, after that 5 minute timer goes off, can't change it. Can't change it. And he had been practicing that for the last year and a half, before he got in his car accident, before he was told he was never going to walk again, all those things. So he had this really awesome practice of hearing hard things, taking 5 minutes to truly feel the emotions inside and out, and do whatever he needed to feel it, to own it, to embrace it. And then he would say out loud, can't change it. So that's exactly what he did when he found out he couldn't walk again. He can't change his car accident, but he can embrace it, and he can do his very best to live. And he said multiple times, if I was going to live the rest of my life in a wheelchair, I was going to be the happiest person in a wheelchair that you've ever known. And he ended up learning how to walk again, like I think a month or two after his car accident. Like, he healed very quickly. And he says, because he thinks it was because he embraced the situation. He wasn't trying to fight it. He wasn't bitter that it happened. He felt all the emotions that came with the accident, and then he just told himself, I can't change it, so might as well have a good attitude about it. And that's exactly how I've tried to go forward with this whole quarantine thing. Can't change it. And I know it's been more than 5 minutes since you've been quarantined in your house, but you can set a timer now and you can express all the feelings that you need to express. And maybe it's not about the quarantine. Maybe you have been harboring feelings towards something or someone that has happened in the past. And he shared experiences of people who they were mad and bitter that their dad passed away early and unexpectedly. And everyone, oh my gosh, she totally fell asleep. That's adorable. She was so mad and upset that her dad had died, and everyone came to her and was like, oh, it's totally understandable because you lost your dad and whatever. But then she heard him speaking and realized that she was totally using that as an excuse and a crutch to stay stuck, to stay stagnant, to stay bitter. And when I heard that, I was like, I immediately thought of like a scenario in my own personal life that I have used as an excuse to stay stuck, to stay bitter, to stay angry. And I set a timer for 5 minutes and I let myself feel the emotions. And then I said, can't change it. And if I can change it, because there are some things like, if it's something in your marriage or a relationship, there are small things that you can do to change it. You could get a divorce, or you could cut off that relationship, or you could stop talking to that person, or you could whatever. Like there are small, subtle things that you can't do to change things, but sometimes there are little things that you can do. But if you choose not to change it, like if you choose not to get a divorce, or you choose that you do need to stay in this relationship, or you don't want to cut off this person or whatever, then you have to accept that that is a battle you have chosen and you can't change the battle. And you've chosen to accept that battle, if that makes sense. Because you've chosen to stay in contact with this specific person that's hurting you, if that's the choice you make. Yes. So today, actually, my situation that I felt through, I got some awesome news that I'm being totally sarcastic. It was not awesome at all. And I was hurt. I was pissed. And I set a timer for 5 minutes and I cried and I was hurt and I was pissed. And then I said out loud, looking myself in the mirror, can't change it. And it totally helped. Totally helped. So I want to encourage you to give yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling about whatever is going on in your life, whether it's about this quarantine stuff, whether it's about some past hurt or past something that you're holding on to that you need to let go of, and give yourself permission to feel it, to feel the pain, to feel the hurt for 5 minutes, and then can't change it and move on to doing the things that you can do with your most optimistic you that you can. I want to end by reading one more time. I saw something in the chat. I just don't want to. Jordan said, yes, amen. You always make me feel like such a great speaker, Jordan, because you always are like so encouraging. Thank you. So I want to end the way I started, and I'm going to read this quote one more time, and then I'll let y'all go who are on the recording. And if you're on live, stay on live so we can chat. But this again comes from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Never miss twice. If I miss one day, I try to get back into it as quickly as possible. Missing one workout happens, but I'm not going to miss 2 in a row. Maybe I'll eat an entire pizza, but I'll follow it up with a healthy meal. I can't be perfect, but I can avoid a second lapse. The first mistake is never the one that ruins you. It's the spiral of repeated mistakes that follows. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. This is a distinguishing feature between winners and losers. Anyone can have a bad performance, a bad workout, or a bad day at work, but when successful people fail, they rebound quickly. The breaking of a habit doesn't matter if the reclaiming of it is fast. I think this principle is so important that I will stick with it, even if I can't do it as well or as completely as I would like. Too often, we fall into an all or nothing cycle with our habits. The problem is not slipping up. The problem is thinking that if you can't do something perfectly, then you shouldn't do it at all. You don't realize how valuable it is to just show up on your bad or busy days. Lost days hurt you more than successful days help you. So, with all that said, Feel your feelings, feel your emotions, say out loud, can't change it, and never miss twice. Yeah. I love you. I believe in you. I'm here for you. I hope that you feel the love and community that comes from our challenge group. I know that checking into Powerful Beyond Measure Fight Club totally gives me a positive sense of girl community, strongness, awesome, fierce, fabulousness, that I'm like, these girls are my people. And I like, of all this quarantine stuff, the thing I miss most is human connection. And I know we always have had our Facebook community, but I'm like, more than ever, I'm just so appreciative of the amazing community that we have. So if you are not a part of Powerful Beyond Measure Fight Club, please request to join. We would love to have you in there. If you're in there but you haven't been checking it, very often I encourage you to do so, because there's some serious positive stuff in there that I'm like amazed and inspired every day, literally, when I get in there. So I love you. I believe in you. And if you're on live, stay on live and we'll chat. And try not to wake this girl up. See ya.